Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's edition of the LTT Podcast. My name is BrendenPlayz. This is the show where we answer all the questions that you guys send in every single week on the BrendenPlayz forums at BrendenPlayz.com/forums in the YouTube comment section down below. Or you can also leave a voicemail at BrendenPlayz.com or over on our Facebook page. BrendenPlayz Official is the link. All those links will be in the description down below for you guys to go ahead and send in some questions. Alright, we are a little late this week in getting the show up. I do apologize. Reason being, I guess Thursday was just a bit of a really shitty day for me. And so I decided, look, I'll come back. I'll be in a better frame of mind on Friday morning. So this is what we're doing the show on right now. And, you know, I think you guys will understand. Now, fast forward to Friday morning. I barely got any sleep last night. But I've had a bit of coffee. I think I'm ready to go. I think I'm ready to go get the show up online. The reason why I had a bad day is that, I had to do an assignment all day, so it was playing on my mind. I went to go and do the assignment. I really had no idea how to do it. And when I can't do something, I get just frustrated. I just get pissed off. So I think that was the case. I think I just got pissed off that I couldn't get the assignment done. And then I was a little upset because I wanted to play NBA 2K16 and I didn't have it yet. So, you know, it is what it is. But anyways, I'm looking forward to getting the show done today. I think we got a lot of good things to talk about. Talking about Backlash today, the Cruiserweight Classic just went down as well. And some other little news articles such as Paige, her future in WWE. We kind of now found out what's going to happen with her. Finally, and some other little news and rumors. Plus, we're going to talk about some of the things that happened on Raw, including the couple of matches announced for No Mercy as well. And going to be plenty to talk about when we get to what I've been playing this week, because I have been playing a lot of things. So we're going to talk about that one later on. So let's get straight into the show this week. We're going to open it up with Backlash. Alright, so straight off the bat, I thought Backlash was a pretty decent show. You know, I think a lot of the title change really helped make the show feel a little bit more special, a little bit more important. That was always going to be the case. But I really feel as though they got a lot of the decisions that they made right. I guess we'll start off with the tag team situation. Now, I know a lot of people were really upset the American Alpha were not a part of the end of the tournament, and they weren't even on SmackDown again this week from what I recall. So, what's their situation? I don't know. They've given them a couple of weeks off, which I don't think is a really good idea because I felt as though just starting to build a bit of momentum and they kind of sit them out for a few weeks. I'm not sure if that's the best strategy, but we'll see. But I guess, you know, at the same time, you know, they're doing well. People will like it seeing them. So, why not just give them a couple of weeks off, and when they come back, you know, they're still a little bit more fresh, they're not being overused kind of thing. So at the same time, I kind of don't mind the situation. And the same thing they kind of done with Cena as well. You know, I think that people are enjoying Cena again. I personally have been enjoying Cena, and, you know, they had him off TV for like a month, you know, after the last pay-per-view, after SummerSlam. So he was off TV for like 3 weeks, and, you know, you bring him back after the pay-per-view, and he had nothing to do beforehand, and now you got him into a feud there. But you haven't seen him for a few weeks, so it's still, you know, it's still cool to see him back again. So, you know, I guess that's maybe a strategy SmackDown is going to try and do. Just kind of, you know, give a few guys a week off here or there to kind of sub them in and out and try that out. If that's the case, then I don't mind that, because one of the things I think we've seen on Raw over the last number of years is just oversaturation of wrestlers, and that's wrestlers being on the show all the time, every week, and being on 3 segments a show. Like, look at Raw now, like Kevin Owens this week, for example. I mean, he had, you know, 4 or 5 promo segments, so like, you know, backstage segments, you know, on the mic segment. You had a lot of airtime devoted to him, so that's going to get pretty old quickly, despite how great Kevin Owens is. You know, that's always going to get pretty old quickly. So I don't mind them kind of subbing someone in and out, you know, for a week or two and kind of, you know, refreshing and going from there. Not a bad idea. So if that's the case with American Alpha, you thought, look, we'll give them a couple weeks off, bring them back, you know, because they've kind of already beaten everyone in the division already. So, you know, who are they going to beat again? So they could kind of give them a couple weeks off, focus their time on a few other tag teams, such as the Hype Bros and the Usos, and bring back the American Alpha better than ever in a couple weeks' time. Not a bad idea. So the Usos, they got the victory over the Hype Bros on the pay-per-view, and I think we all kind of expected that. They went on to go on the challenge for the tag team titles against Heath Slater and Rhino. Again, I still like the tag titles that SmackDown produced. I mean, I always thought the bronze was just ugly. The silver and that design does pretty well. I like the silver on the title belts. I think it looks cool. I think the gold and the bronze type of style, I think I'll maybe just be a little bit over gold and a bit over... I certainly was never really fond of bronze as it was. So I think silver is a nice change, and I think it's something that I can really get behind. I mean, obviously they brought in a new championship for the Cruiserweights, we'll talk about it in a moment, and it's silver again, and I guess that might be where they're kind of headed now. But anyways, so I'm pretty happy that Rhino and Heath Slater got the win. It's what I expected. The crowd reacted pretty well. Heath Slater's getting over. He's doing pretty well. And I think they can ride this momentum for a month or so. It also means that they can get the attention of the Usos and American Alpha around the championships. They can build a couple of strong challenges to take on Slater and Rhino and, beat them quite easily. I mean, American Alpha would have been the obvious choice. I think we kind of would have seen that. But I think giving them the championships would have been too much too soon. I think, debuting them and 6 weeks to 2 months later, they give them the championships, I think some people might have reacted quite negatively to that. Okay, well, what about these other tag teams that have been working hard, blah, 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 blah. You know how wrestling fans are. So I just felt as though it was probably a right decision just to let American Alpha continue to build themselves up a little bit more, give the belts to someone else. And a small, short-term team such as Slater and Rhino is probably a perfect option. They've got some momentum. They're doing well. Why not? I'm sure their original plans were to give the belts to American Alpha. And then they had to change plans when Slater and Rhino was starting to become a thing. It was starting to work. So I think they've made the right decision there. And I think they'll be a very fun team to enjoy. And I think they've always been a very enjoyable part of SmackDown for the last month or so. Since Slater's been doing this thing on SmackDown, has really been working out quite well. I think it's been quite enjoyable to watch lately. So we'll see how he goes. Now, the thing that made Heath Slater so great and entertaining is, his goofiness, doing stupid things, messing up. So are they going to take that away from him, make him a little bit more serious now? Like he's, starting to win more matches. He's starting to actually become a legit competitor again. Maybe that's what they want from him. Maybe they want him to also have that goofy side to him, but hey, this guy can actually go in the ring and this guy can actually win matches when it comes to it. So maybe that's their plan. If that's the case, they're doing a slow kind of build towards that, and eventually, maybe by the time this tag team is over, we may see Heath Slater again as a viable contender, and I think that's something that would be great for Heath Slater, not to be used as a punching bag anymore. And it would mean that they got another little decent mid-carder on their hands, might get a good reaction every week. Why not? So, I'm looking forward to seeing where they go with this. I don't think it's going to be a long-term title reign. I think maybe at No Mercy they'll drop the championships, which is about, a month away. So, that's probably a realistic chance they might drop the titles there. Not sure who's going to face them. Probably the Usos at this point. So, we'll see. Alright, next matchup we had Becky Lynch winning the Women's Championship. Again, another great decision. That was who I wanted to win. I think Becky Lynch just deserved it. She's been really working hard in the women's division over the last year, and she's done a lot of great work. She's really helped carry this division through some tough times. Paige has been out, Sasha Banks has been in and out, Nikki Bella was also out, Brie Bella left the division, so there's been a few come and go and kind of drop down the totem pole a little bit as well, and Becky Lynch has been one to kind of pick up the slack. So I really feel as though she's the right pick for SmackDown. I think Alexa Bliss and Carmella, for example, a bit too new. I think they've got a little bit more to do. They're starting to get some crowd reactions. I thought Alexa Bliss was probably one of the standouts in that match. I liked her look. I liked the Harley Quinn type of style to her. I thought it was pretty cool. I think that's something that she should try and keep. It kind of stands her out from the rest. Naomi's obviously doing really, really well as well. She's getting a great reaction now every week with her cool entrance. So, can she kind of keep that going in the ring? That's the thing. I think she can. I think she's a talented athlete. So, I think she'll be one to really look forward to in the women's division on SmackDown again. I think it's a nice change for her. It's something that really sets her out from the rest, and sets her out from everyone else in the WWE. No one's got any entrance quite like her, so that's something really great to have. I think that's something that the women have kind of lacked over the years. Is they just have kind of generic entrances, and they don't really kind of stand out as much. Like the men, for example. Bray Wyatt's got a crazy entrance. Undertaker's got. There's a few guys that got some crazy entrances. Why not give the women some? And it's cool that Naomi's got one there. I think it's a lot of fun. I know some people kind of find it stupid and silly and ridiculous, but yeah, it's different. It's cool. That's what we want. Something different. So Naomi, I think, will be one to look forward to in this division. I think all 6 of the women in this match actually probably. I'll probably take away Natalya. I think she's just, dead weight at this point. But the other 5, I think you can see plenty of good stuff from. I think Nikki Bella still has some more to offer as well. And I think, Carmella, Alexa Bliss, and Naomi will certainly challenge for the championship down the line. And I think Becky Lynch will be a great champion to start the division off. So, again, another good decision. They've done well. They've done well in choosing the right winners, I thought, for Backlash. Miz and Dolph Ziggler. Miz winning was the right call again. Dolph Ziggler doesn't need the IC Championship. He keeps on losing, but Miz has got momentum. Dolph Ziggler not really. So I think the Miz as champion is the right call. And Miz looks good as champion. He came out with the suit on SmackDown. Looks good. So I like it. And the other match that we had on the show, we actually have... we had Baron Corbin beat Cruz in the pre-show. Again, we're kind of wasting that little matchup with a pre-show rivalry, which is a little disappointing. Just trying to think if we had any other ones besides the main event. But so look, we'll go to the main event. AJ Styles and Dean Ambrose. Great match. Really good. Actually, and just to say as well, Dolph Ziggler and Miz, I thought might have been match of the night. That was a really, really good match. So that was very good. I didn't want to skim over it, but I really enjoyed that match. Ambrose and Styles was great again. Ambrose, I thought, had to really fire back after a really, shocker of a match at SummerSlam. Him firing back and having a great match against Styles at the pay-per-view was really, really important, I think, for him. I think Backlash needed to be a big night for Ambrose, and he finally, I thought, delivered. Ambrose as champion, my overall assessment was disappointing. I think I was really hoping that he would have a great title reign, but I just think sometimes he kind of disappointed me. Some of the direction that his character took didn't really interest me too much. I felt as though last year was the right time for him to be champion, but obviously that didn't happen. But Ambrose getting the championship around this time was a good experiment. They've kind of established him now as a full-time main event star, which is good, which is what they want to do. So they kind of got the purpose that they want. They created a new star out of it. His reactions are dropping. I think the crowd are kind of cooling off them a little bit, whereas AJ Styles' reactions are just getting bigger and bigger every week. I think the crowd are really enjoying AJ Styles. I think everyone watching the show is really enjoying AJ Styles. I know I am. He's probably one of my favorites on the show right now. He's really doing well. I think, I was not really much of an AJ Styles fan in TNA. And when he came to the WWE, I didn't really think too much. I thought, okay, well, he'll have some good matches, but I think he'll really get the World Championship. I think at the start of the year, I think maybe next year he might get the title. Definitely not this year. I could even see him main eventing pay-per-views this year. I don't think many of us really thought he'd be World Champion by, end of the year. But, hey, he's done it. He's done it. He's gotten himself over. Crowd are loving him. Putting on great matches. He's had some great matches. John Cena match, Roman Reigns match. Jericho matches were alright. He's done pretty well. He's done really, really well. So AJ Styles deserves to be champion, I think. And now, again, AJ Styles is the champion. Another top guy established on SmackDown. So it's good. It's good that they're kind of giving some more guys some opportunities. I don't think AJ Styles will be champion if the brands were still together. I think that probably wouldn't have happened. But the brand split, that's one of the things that is the beauty of it. You can push new guys. Give a championship to one brand, give a championship to the other brand, and one guy that's been established for a long time, he may be champion, and you may run the risk of having another guy who is new to the championship scene, give him the belt on the other brand. But this time, they've actually given it to two new guys, which is great. It's fresh, it's exciting, and even though AJ Styles is, 39 years old, still, he's still got a few good years left in him, and I think he can really add a lot to the main event scene on SmackDown right now. So I'm really all for it. I think he's going to do well. I'm really looking forward to the triple threat at No Mercy. I think that's going to be really, really good. Cena, Ambrose, and Styles. I can see that being pretty crazy. So that's one to really look forward to. So big plus, a big thumbs up from me for Styles winning the championship. Alright, so that's pretty much it for Backlash from me. Like I said, I thought it was a good show. I enjoyed it. Obviously, the title changes and the new championships and the title changes made the show better than probably what it would have been without. So that added a level of excitement. So we'll see how Raw kind of responds with their Clash of Champions pay-per-view, and then obviously SmackDown has another No Mercy pay-per-view after that. It's a little bit too pay-per-view heavy right now. We're having like a pay-per-view in a couple, maybe next week for Clash of Champions. We just had Backlash, and then 2 weeks later we have No Mercy again. It's kind of like too much a little bit. I get it, it's two different brands, but I always felt as though 3 weeks in between would probably be right instead of like 2.5, 3, whatever it was going to be. So yeah, I don't know. That's just my thoughts. Cruiserweight Classic. Now, I haven't followed the tournament completely. My early pick was Kota Ibushi to win. So when I watched the Cruiserweight Classic yesterday and Kota Ibushi got beat by TJ Perkins, you can imagine the shock on my face. I was like, what? I could not believe it at all. I really felt Ibushi was going to be a lock. He's been there, the guy who's been getting the most attention, I thought, around the whole tournament before and during. So he's probably one of the favorites to win, but they kind of went in a different direction. They gave it to TJ Perkins, a guy who I don't know too much about. I believe he played Manic in TNA, and Suicide, I think, is the other name for it. So I don't really know too much about TJ Perkins, so I didn't think he would get the win and the championship, of course. So, so a new Cruiserweight Championship has been introduced. I really like the design. I think the purple strap is really nice with the silver as well. They went with the Cruiserweight Classic theme of purple and silver. So I think it's pretty fitting that they keep that going with the Cruiserweight Championship. From the sounds of it, they're definitely planning on doing another Cruiserweight Classic tournament, which I think is the right way to go. I think the Cruiserweight Classic is a good addition to the network. Now, mind you, I didn't watch all of it. I watched the first couple ones, and then I kind of, went away from it for a while. I know there was some really, really good matches in there, and I thought that there was some good matches in the final as well. But I guess just for me, I was watching, a pay-per-view every now and then, Raw, SmackDown. I was even watching NXT for a while, trying to get to the Cruiserweight Classic as well. It's just like, oh my god, it's just a bit too much for me to get to. So I kind of struggled with that. But I definitely made it, I had to go out of my way this week to watch the final, and I'm glad I did. It was really, really great. I thought probably the standout of the tournament for me, a guy that I knew absolutely nothing about, was Grand Metalik. I had never heard of this guy at all, and I watched one of his earlier matches, and I was totally impressed. I thought this guy is phenomenal. He is going to be a star, I think. Can't speak the language, and we'll talk more about that issue in a moment. Can't speak the language, but in the ring, man, he is so entertaining. He can work those ropes like I've never seen anyone do before. His final match there with Perkins was incredible, so I'm glad he went to the final. Shows to me that they're really going to give this guy a big push. And I think they've kind of still been on the look for another masked superstar, like an ex-Rey Mysterio to come along. And I think Grand Metalik, whilst he can't speak the language, is going to be a huge hindrance, but I still think in the ring he's going to get it done. So maybe they need to get a manager for him, but he's going to be great. He's going to be really fun. I think the reason why TJ Perkins probably won the tournament and the championship before, Metalik or a Ibushi was because he can speak English, and I feel like they want someone to represent the division who can speak English off the bat. Ibushi and Metalik, for example, may win the championship down the line. Maybe they even have bigger plans for Ibushi, I don't know. I hope they do treat the Cruiserweights as something special. So far, it feels special. So far, if you're in the Cruiserweight division, it doesn't feel like you're a step down. It just feels like, you're in this crazy high-flying division full of these awesome matches. You're going to be doing all this cool stuff. I don't know. It just feels like that at the moment. So hopefully they can keep that going. They don't water it down anymore. But I feel like TJ Perkins won because he can speak English. They got someone who can be the ambassador and representative of the Cruiserweight division off the get-go, who can speak English. And like I said, some other guys who can't, some of the foreigners, they might win the championship down the line once they've kind of established the Cruiserweight division on Raw, because they probably want someone like TJ who's got a great story to tell, to come into the ring, cut a promo, tell us all about it, and kind of go from there. It would be pretty lame if the champion couldn't say anything, from the get-go. So I think that's probably the reason why, and he's a good choice. I think Zack Sabre Jr. has not signed, as far as I know. I think he's probably going to be signing next year. I don't know. That was the last update that I heard about that situation. So I think Zack Sabre Jr. is great as well. I think he's one I've had my eye on for a while as well. So I would like to see him come to the WWE and compete in the division as well. So hopefully he does come along soon. But I think Perkins is the right call. Wins the championship and the tournament, which is great. And like I said, they really put that tournament really well together. Daniel Bryan and Morinello, their passion on commentary was incredible. They really called it well. I think overall they put that tournament together really, really well. It was a great tournament, to be honest. I probably should have watched more. I probably, let myself down by doing that. But I watched a few episodes and then I watched the final. And I got to say, I enjoyed every minute. Every time I watched it, I was certainly enjoying it. And it was good to see a few different competitors compete. I think the thing that I enjoy the most, I'm going to enjoy the most, is when they come to Raw. I think Raw, if they devote an hour to the Cruiserweights every week, that's going to fill a lot of time. And now you have 2 hours to the rest of the roster to do their thing. That's going to really help the quality of Raw a lot. I think the Cruiserweights are going to have some incredible matches, as long as they keep letting them do this crazy stuff that they've been doing. Keep letting them go out there and bust their ass and not kill themselves, but give it their all in the ring. So I think it's going to help Raw tremendously. Raw's got 1 hour every week, in my opinion, that sucks. If they can fill that with entertaining Cruiserweight matches, these new guys that we've never really seen before, fill that time in with these guys, it's going to really work out really well for Raw. I know they've kind of been talking about maybe putting the Cruiserweights on SmackDown too. I hope they don't. I don't think SmackDown really needs it. I don't think they'd get enough time. What I would do is I'd have the Cruiserweights on NXT and on Raw and kind of intertwine, have the champion go to both shows, have some of the newer Cruiserweights, develop them down to NXT, and some of the more established guys, keep them on Raw, but also have some of the new guys go back and forth as well, to keep things fresh. But it'll be interesting to see which guys from the main roster right now will go into the Cruiserweight division. Will Neville join the Cruiserweights? I think he'd be perfect for it. I'm not, Kalisto as well. He's on SmackDown. Maybe probably Sin Cara might join in there. Just trying to think of some small guys who kind of would fit the style. But yeah, so look, I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be great for Raw. Honestly, I'm actually really looking forward to seeing what happens next week with what they do with them. I think you start off the first hour with your long draining 30-minute promo that they have to do every week. Do that. Then the second hour, boom, put the Cruiserweights in there and kind of have these crazy matches. Going to be good. It's going to be good. I'm looking forward to it. So big thumbs up from me for the Cruiserweight Classic. Alright, so Paige confirmed on Twitter this week that she's not leaving the WWE. She's going to be staying around. She's going to be returning to Raw next week, I believe. So she'll be back this week. She got the rumor is, I saw the picture, she took it down, but the rumor is she got a Alberto tattooed under one of her boobs, so that was interesting. Look, Paige has had a troubled, to say the least, a troubled couple of weeks. Alberto officially done from the company. He's gone. Paige, the rumor was that she wanted to join. She wanted to, leave the company. The WWE's even been rumored to wanted to fire her because of all the BS that she's, they've had to deal with her. Look, I hope Paige can just sort her life out. I think she right now should be in the division. I understand she's been suspended. The talk is that she, what she said in her Twitter is that she took the test, but she took the test too late, and that was a violation of the policy. So she didn't get test positive for anything. It's because she took the test too late. So I'll believe her on that one, and I'll give her the benefit of the doubt there. So that sucks for her, but it's good to know she's not doing, any drugs. I thought perhaps it could have been a party drug, so I'm glad to see that that's not the case. Alberta was done for PED, so that's no real surprise. Let's be honest. Look at the way he's looking right now. So that's no surprise at all. So Paige will be back. Hopefully things can work out for her, but don't be surprised if she comes back, maybe gets a win on her return, then Nia Jax comes out and beats her ass. Let's be honest. And this is the WWE. They are so spiteful. And if you're associated with someone they don't like, for example, Del Rio, even though Del Rio says his relationship with Vince is great, we'll see. We'll see how Paige goes when he's gone. I think it'd be a waste to do that, but, this is WWE we're talking about. So hopefully Paige comes back and does well. I think she could be, good to insert there in amongst the championship scene with Sasha, Bayley, and Charlotte. I think Paige being a heel would be good. Bring her back as a heel, and you can have her as a top heel with Charlotte. Maybe Paige has a feud with Bayley, for example, and have a number one contenders feud there. Maybe if Sasha Banks doesn't win the championship, her and Paige can have a feud again. So I think there's a few different variables you can do with Paige to kind of spice up the division, because Raw's women's division kind of sucks in my opinion. I think it's just centered around Charlotte and Sasha Banks. Bayley's kind of there at the moment. Dana Brooke sucks. Nia Jax not really there doing much yet. So they're gonna do something about that. They're gonna have to start pushing the division as a whole and kind of get everyone on the same level. So they can't really afford to waste Paige. Another woman that may be returning to Raw is Emma. She's dealing with an injury right now, but I think she's rumored to perhaps be returning soon. So we may see her turn up on Raw in the next few weeks. I think Raw is where she's probably going to be going. Now, she'll definitely come back as a heel, and the whole thing was going to be her and Dana. So maybe we see Dana Brooke turn on Charlotte and go to Emma, maybe? I don't know. But, yeah, that'll be interesting to see that dynamic. You bring back Emma, who was going to get the push before she got injured, which was so sad. I really like Emma. I think she's great. Obviously, her being Australian helps a lot for me. So, I'm looking forward to seeing her come back, and hopefully she does well. But I just can't see her poking her nose through the top of the division right now. So, she's going to probably be on the lower end of the scale for a while. But to be honest, that might not be such a bad thing. They could kind of build her up a bit more and kind of go with her from there. Inserting her right in the title scene wouldn't be the best call anyways. So I think, she's had a few years where she's done fuck all. So I think it'd be good to kind of, establish her a bit more on Raw. I don't think SmackDown really needs Paige or Emma, to be honest with you. I think they can go without. I think they've got their core six. Eva Marie will probably be back next week, I think, as well. So we'll be interested to see what she does when she comes back. So I think they have their core women's division that they can just, rely on and focus on, and let Raw, because I think Raw has the worst division, so let Raw get some of the returnees to their show. And finally, the last bit of rumors this week is, I take this one with a grain of salt, but I read this article yesterday. Goldberg perhaps going to be in town for Clash of Champions. He's doing an interview or something like that in the same town as Clash of Champions on the same day. Rumor it could be that he might do something in Clash of Champions, but let's be honest, is he going to show up on a pay-per-view like Clash of Champions? I mean, a throwaway pay-per-view, or is he going to turn up at a Royal Rumble, and do something there? I think that Royal Rumble will be much better. I think he's going to have a match. He's going to have a match at WrestleMania. He's not going to have a match at fucking Clash of Champions. So I think I would say that's not going to happen. So I know a lot of people have been getting their hopes up about Goldberg the last few months. I don't think he's going to turn up at Clash of Champions. But hey, could be wrong, but I don't see it. Alright, so we'll continue on. We'll finish up with Monday Night Raw and SmackDown discussions here. So let's get into Raw. So we talked about it a moment ago, but Dana Brooke, now they're kind of teasing perhaps that she may turn. Is she going to turn babyface or turn on Charlotte? The whole slap thing, but Dana Brooke kind of, apologized and really went back to Charlotte. So they're kind of teasing that Dana Brooke's not happy there. Look, to be honest with you, I think Dana Brooke is drizzling shit. I haven't shit-listed her or anything like that, but I think her voice irritates me, and in the ring, just got nothing. So, she's the punching bag right now for the division, which is what they need. Someone's got to lose. You can't have Sasha, Charlotte, and Bayley just, lose to each other. It's good that they got someone there who can lose. Dana Brooke's the perfect one. Let her lose every damn match, which she does, and, keep the other three looking good. So, I can't complain there. She's perfect in her role of losing. So, but a turn, I think Charlotte can be on her own just fine, but I think it helps her more as a heel having Dana Brooke there. She can do her dirty work. Charlotte doesn't have to get in the ring all the time. So at the same time, I've kind of warmed up to the idea of having Dana Brooke by Charlotte's side. I was really against it a few months ago, but I can see her purpose now, so I'm kind of fine with it. Another win for Bo Dallas this week, beating another local guy, so it's interesting to see where they're going with Bo. Still looks like a complete jobber, but getting some wins, beating some local guys, Bo Dallas, we'll see where he goes. I don't think it's going to end up too far. I don't think the crowd are really caring right now for Bo Dallas. So he's going to have a lot of work to do. Enzo and Cass got a loss this week again to I was going to call them the Matadors, but the Epico and Primo. So a lot of people might be scratching their heads. Why are they losing to Epico and Primo? What the hell's going on there? Epico and Primo suck, blah, 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 blah. Look, the thing with the tag division is they got kind of like Enzo and Cass have been beating everyone, doing so well. You've got the New Day and even to a lesser extent Anderson and Gallows. All these three teams on a high pedestal. Then you have the Lost Matador, again, the Epico and Primo, who are on the bottom. And they kind of have to elevate these other teams to get them on the same level as Enzo and Cass. So I think really, to be honest, what they're doing is they're giving Enzo and Cass these losses that won't really affect them too much. Kind of a cheap loss, giving Epico and Primo these, some cheap wins to kind of establish them better, get some wins, and kind of make them more of a threat, I suppose, so they can be more useful down the line. Enzo and Cass are doing so well. They are, if they lose a few matches, it's not going to hurt them, and I don't think it has. So I think, it's going to be fine. I think Epico and Primo, to be honest, I think the gimmick sucks, but what they did with them this week actually was good. Having them kind of be like these guys who try to sell, tickets to Puerto Rico, and they look like, they're scamming you type of thing. I thought that was a good way to do it. I thought that was a much better direction for their character. They're promoting Puerto Rico, and now they're trying to, sell it to people, literally, but it looks like a scam. So I think that was kind of good. I like that. Chris Jericho and Sami Zayn looked as though they're going to be feuding from now until probably the pay-per-view. I don't think it's going to be a long-term feud, but they've kind of added that match to the pay-per-view. I expect Sami Zayn to win. I'm kind of a little over the whole Zayn and Owen situation, but if they want to have Sami Zayn getting jealous of Chris Jericho being Kevin Owens' new best friend, sure, why not? Chris Jericho is one of the best things on Raw right now. I'm enjoying Jericho nearly as much as I ever have, to be honest with you. I love the stupid idiot, drinking in, it. I like it all. I think it's great. Jericho has probably had one of his best years. He's reinvented himself. He's come up with all these new catchphrases. He's doing great. He is great. I mean, I've always been a Jericho fan, always, but now he surprised me. I thought, when he came back as a babyface earlier this year, I was like, oh my god, we're going to see the same shit from Jericho, the same catchphrase he's been doing for 10 years. Turn heel, and his heel run has been fantastic. He's not winning, but he doesn't need to win. He's doing so well, and him being Kevin Owens' best friend, I think is hilarious. So I'm really enjoying it, so that's great. Nia Jax spearing Alicia Fox through the barricade. A lot of you guys were like, oh my god. Look, the barricade was set up. It was so obvious that it was going to happen. It was just like one little barricade, away from everything else. It was kind of funny, but hey, it's cool that they're doing something quote-unquote extreme to the women. I mean, that's something I think they've always missed, not having the gimmick matches such as a ladder match or tables match. You know, doing something a little bit there with Nia Jax I think is cool. Puts her over a bit more. Alicia Fox, I don't think they ever see her as being anything other than what she is right now, which sucks for her, but, you know, she's got a job. She can come out there and lose and kind of put some of the new girls over, so it's not a bad spot for her to be in, to be honest. You know, she could be on the independents doing nothing, but, you know, it's better than nothing. So Nia Jax, it's good for her to actually have a rivalry now. She's got a feud with Alicia Fox, we would assume will carry on at least to probably the next pay-per-view, maybe a little bit further. So that's a good thing for Nia Jax. She can have a legitimate person she can beat, and Alicia Fox is probably the right person. She's the perfect person for that job. Rusev was back this week to try and distract Reigns, and he attacked him after the match as well between Reigns and Owens. I didn't think Reigns would get actually inserted into the match. I always thought something was going to happen. I never really believed Reigns was going to make it a triple threat. Always believed it was still going to be Seth and Kevin one-on-one. So I'm glad Rusev's back. Obviously, the rumor was he's going to be on his honeymoon for the rest of the month, which still could be the case. He might have turned up for the night on Raw and then straight back to Paradise the next day. Maybe that's the case. And maybe he'll come back next week and do the same thing. I don't know. But, so Rusev and Reigns, they kind of started that feud and they just forgot about it, and now they're going to go back to it. So, yeah, I don't know. But I think Rusev has been really good the last few months as well. They've done really well with him. So it'd be a shame for him to get bitched out at the pay-per-view, but we'll see. I think another distraction win for Rusev would be cool. Roman Reigns has been losing a bit lately, which I think is a good thing. I think he's been on such a winning, just unbeatable streak for such a long time that to get him over more as a babyface, in my opinion, you got to have him lose. That's the thing with Cena. He just beat everyone, and you got no opponents. And after a while, you got all these guys who could have been up there with Cena, and it just never happened because he just kept on beating everybody. So for Reigns, if he has the occasional loss, it's not so bad. Not so bad at all. Doesn't have to be champion right now. And him and Rusev had a great rivalry back, and disappointing they didn't have that SummerSlam match. Obviously, they had the big match on Raw the week before. But look, I think they can have something here. And I think it was the most I've been entertained by Rusev in a long time when he was up against Roman Reigns. So I think this is a rivalry that I believe needs to be finished off. I think there's more to it, and I think it's a good decision to go back to it. And I think maybe if Reigns loses by a distraction or a Lana interference or something like that, whatever, why not, and keep the belt on Rusev and let him keep going there, but also maybe get a bit more sympathy for Roman Reigns and help him out as well. So I thought Raw was good this week. I think, I didn't mention it earlier, but I definitely thought SmackDown was probably better. Again, coming off Backlash, SmackDown was fun. I enjoyed SmackDown. Again, look, I think now with the Cruiserweights coming in, SmackDown won't be as dominant. Like I said, I just feel as though the third hour is going to give SmackDown a run for its money, which I hope so. I think SmackDown needs a bit more competition, I think, at this point. Speaking of SmackDown, Jack Swagger has switched brands going from Raw to SmackDown. He got a loss on Raw, got a win. Well, not a win, but a bit of a win, I guess you could say, coming out and interrupting Baron Corbin. The rumor is they're going to give Swagger a bit of a push. I'll believe it when I see it. I think he'll be on the show. I don't think he's going to be beating someone like a Baron Corbin, but he was being wasted. He was just on Superstars and the occasional match on Raw, and most of the time losing. So it's good he's doing something. Let's be honest. He's doing something. He's on SmackDown. I think there was room for him. There probably wasn't any room for him on Raw. So I think that was their decision. They thought, well, hey, he's not really doing much on Raw. Why not put him on SmackDown? So why not? I think it's going to work out pretty well for him. And I like how they're doing the whole, his contract running out on Raw, let's get him to SmackDown. It was an easy thing to do and an easy reason for the switch. But it makes sense. That's something that I've done as well for my Universe mode, for example. So-and-so's contract's running out. Maybe SmackDown will sign him, maybe they won't, type of thing. I like that. So we'll see how Swagger goes. I think, obviously, a Corbin and Swagger feud will be good. Something for Corbin to do, at least. Alexa Bliss, number one contender. Surprising, yes. But good decision, absolutely. I think Alexa Bliss has done well in last few weeks. I haven't really watched her that intently. She hasn't really stood out for me, but I think she's getting there. She's got a few more weeks to build herself up as a viable contender. I don't think she'll win the championship. I think that would be too soon to drop it from Becky, obviously, but they can give her a high-profile match, get people exposed to her, and get people kind of used to her as a top-tier contender for the championship, and go from there. I think Carmella and Nikki Bella are kind of locked up in a rivalry there. Natalya and Naomi are doing nothing. Maybe they'll go up against each other, or maybe they'll be just the two floaters in the division. I don't know. Maybe Eve Marie will get herself involved somehow. I don't know, but I think Alexa Bliss and Becky Lynch should have a good match. Curt Hawkins. We saw Curt Hawkins somewhat this week. Did a little bit of a vignette. I actually thought he was going to debut this week. Was I wrong? I thought last week they mentioned he was going to debut this week. I don't know. Maybe I was wrong about that. Maybe I was reading things. I'm glad he didn't debut because I think this gimmick is awful. I mean, this whole kind of fact gimmick. I mean, it wasn't Tyson Kidd meant to be doing that. Curt Hawkins, whatever it is. I don't give a shit. I couldn't care less. I mean, didn't like him when he was here the first time. Just saw him as nothing, and I don't see him as anything again. I think he'll be SmackDown's Jinder Mahal. He's going to come in probably with his first match and then lose every other match from there. And that's perfectly okay. I think that's all he should be doing. I brought him in my universe mode to basically be someone who's going to lose. And I think SmackDown will probably do the same thing for their show. So I couldn't care less. I think the gimmick is atrocious. It just doesn't... It's not funny. It's not entertaining. It's not interesting. It's not... It sucks. Like I'll give it a couple weeks when he comes up. But from what I've seen, I don't find any redeeming quality about it at all. Could be wrong, but I am not impressed so far. And I've been generally pretty positive this episode of the podcast, but now we're starting to get into some negatives. Finally, you know, there's always going to be some negatives every week. Curt Hawkins is one. He's a guy that just doesn't have it. But hey, it's better that he loses every match than someone like Apollo Crews, for example, who, by the way, has been losing too much. Very disappointing. I like Apollo Crews, but people think he may have to turn. I'm not sure if he's going to turn. I still think he can be over as a babyface, but it's not working for him, is it? Finally, Triple Threat for No Mercy announced. Cena, Ambrose, and Styles. We kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, but I'm looking forward to it. I think that would be a great match. Could potentially be match of the year. At least a candidate. It's going to be a good one. I really believe it. I think I like how SmackDown has the old pay-per-views. No Mercy, Backlash. I like these names. I really like the names coming back. I get it. It's just a name, but you know, when you have Backlash and No Mercy, and maybe if they bring back Armageddon one day, Judgment Day, it's better than Fastlane, Roadblock. You know, so what's the other one they have? Battleground, Payback. You know, some of these names are a bit cooler than them, so I'm happy. I mean, I like to see more of them come back. You know, let's get rid of Battleground. Let's get rid of Payback. Let's get rid of those shitty ones and kind of bring back some of the cool ones. I always thought Backlash was more of a Raw pay-per-view, so it was always a little odd to me that it was given to SmackDown. I always saw Backlash as Raw, the one after WrestleMania. And No Mercy to me was always a SmackDown show, so that's cool. But, yeah, I always thought SmackDown was not really a Backlash thing. But, hey, whatever. I started SmackDown this week. Like I said, I thought SmackDown was probably the better show. Really enjoyed it again. But it's not to say I didn't hate Raw. But the thing that I like about Raw the most is that I generally will watch it and I'll fast forward through everything that I don't want to watch. And when you do that, Raw's not so bad. But SmackDown's a show that I want to get up. I want to wake up in time, watch it live. Rather than getting an extra hour's sleep, I'd rather watch SmackDown live for the most part. Raw, I can sleep in for an extra hour. That's just kind of my thoughts. That's my opinion on the two shows right now. So, I'm a SmackDown guy, but I can appreciate when Raw does some good things, and they did some good things this week. But I think the Cruiserweights, next week we could come back, and this could be a completely different conversation. We could be saying, I'm now going to be watching this thing live because I don't want to miss out. I don't want to get spoiled, potential for spoiler, and maybe SmackDown. Alright, well, whatever. If we want to sleep it along, that's okay. This week, what is Brendan playing? Now, if you saw my live stream on the weekend, or even saw the VOD afterwards, you'll notice that I was playing some oldies. Got the GameCube, Day of Reckoning 2, WWE. It's a game that is really cool. Honestly, good looking game. Now, I think this game is something that I definitely want to do a series on. Now, I'm not decided, I'm a little unsure if I want to do one right now or wait a little bit, but it's certainly something I want to do in the future. I streamed a little bit of it on what was the other day? I forget what day it is. And I might stream it again this weekend. And I think it's just fun, dude. I think it's really cool. I think there's a story mode. I'm not sure how it works or what's the deal with it, but I think it's pretty cool. I got the WrestleMania 18 and 19 games as well. They're not so bad either, so that's something to play as well. So definitely have some new games. I wanted to get the GameCube to get these games and kind of show you guys what they're all about. And I'm pretty glad that I did. I knew these games are good, but I just like, oh man, get the GameCube. It's going to be hard. I didn't really want to do it, but at the end of the day, I did. And I got some Smash Brothers games as well, which I've really been enjoying as well. So I've been really enjoying some old games that I haven't had a chance to play in a while, if at all. I never had the GameCube when I was younger. I actually skipped the GameCube. I was always a Nintendo guy. Super Nintendo and the Nintendo 64 were my first couple of consoles, and I adored them. I absolutely loved them so much. Played them so much. Donkey Kong Country was some of my favorite games. Super Mario, Mario Kart, Smash Brothers, the original, Donkey Kong 64, Banjo-Kazooie. Some of these games I just played. Diddy Kong Racing. Man, that was a great game, wasn't it? Diddy Kong. Man, that was fucking great. Would love to see another Diddy Kong Race. But yeah, some of these games are so great. I was always a Nintendo guy. But then I kind of moved into being a PlayStation guy. I got the PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, and I didn't get the GameCube. Didn't pick it up. Instead, I was just a PlayStation guy from then on. And I got the PS3, and I was the PS4 now. Got an Xbox a couple times along the way. Didn't get the 360, but I had the original Xbox. I got that 3 or 4 years after it came out. I just got it. I wanted to play Halo. I loved it. Halo was great. Obviously, I have the Xbox One now too, but yeah, so I was always a PlayStation guy, but I was originally a Nintendo guy. I had the Wii, and I thought the Wii was okay, but I just didn't sink enough hours into it, I thought. I just didn't gravitate towards it. Maybe I was moving from a young, casual gamer as a young kid, playing the kiddie games like Mario. Mario Party was also my fucking game as well. I loved that game. So all these great Mario games from the beginning, and maybe when I got older, I kind of grew out of it. But playing them yesterday was terrific. Great opportunity to get back and play some of the old games. Also, I played Simpsons Hit and Run, and I don't know if you guys played that game, but I put a tweet out. I said to my friend, "I hope you play this game," and he did. But man, that game was phenomenal. I finished the whole game except for the last mission. I couldn't beat the last mission. I think it had aliens or something in there. Couldn't beat that mission. Only one I couldn't do. And infuriated me. I think I might have been, 8, 9, 10 years old. And I couldn't beat that mission. So probably if I went back and did it now, I'd probably beat it first go, let's be honest. But back then I couldn't. But that game was so good, dude. That's like a hidden gem. I don't know if it flew under the radar. Maybe it didn't. I think a lot of people did play it. But I think a lot of people... Anyone who played that game would love it. That was a terrific game. So let me know in the comments below if you played that game. Simpsons Hit and Run. Fantastic. So it's good to go back and play some of the old games I haven't played in a while. That's always nice. Sometimes you go back and play them and it's not as good as you wanted to, as you thought it was. Everything was great when you're younger. But, I went back and played and I'm like, you know what? This is still great. This is still good. This is still fun. So I'm enjoying it. So I think for the next... I definitely want to stream this weekend, and I think for the next few weeks when I do stream, we'll be playing some of the old games that I haven't had a chance to play in a while. I really want to get NBA 2K17, excuse me. I am waiting on my game to come. Hopefully the mailman comes with a nice surprise for me today. I'm waiting for it to come in the mail. At least I think so. I'm not quite sure what's going on there, if I'm going to get the game this week. If not, I'm going to have to wait till Monday. I was going to pre-order it and get it digitally, and just if I got the copy in the mail, I was just going to give it away. But when I went to pre-order it, I was 1 minute too late. I saw the time on the clock. I had 3 minutes to pre-order it, and I was like half a minute late, 1 minute late, and I couldn't do it. So I'm a little depressed now, to be honest with you. I really wanted to play NBA because I was like, you know what? I got a whole weekend, get this assignment done that I've been working on, get this done today. Whole weekend to do and play NBA career mode, get so many videos done, bringing it all out for you guys this weekend, have heaps of new content. Not going to happen. So hopefully it comes out. If it does, then same thing will happen. You're going to get a whole new lot of content. But yeah. And I know I kind of been a little slacky on the content. Like this week was a little disappointing. I guess for some reason, I don't know. I feel like the sub boxes weren't working this week. I don't know. I'm not going to make excuses. But a pretty shitty week with the channel. The views are down. Subscribers are down. So I don't know if it was just an off week, but it kind of put me off a little bit this week. So I'm going to try and hit back next week with a strong week of videos. Get some Universe Mode episodes done, and give you guys what you want. I know I kind of slacked off for the last few days and getting the Universe Mode videos done. So I've got the whole weekend. My brother's coming today. I haven't seen him in a while. He'll be coming for the night. My girlfriend's has gone away for the weekend, so I'll be able to get a lot of videos done this weekend. So I'll try and get some more Universe Mode episodes done for you guys. And we need to get it done because I want to get it, the pay-per-view all ready to go before TLC. So, plus I have a lot of assignments and things due in the next couple of weeks. 2 to 3 weeks is like the busy time of the semester for me. So I've got to really I really got to get cracking. Otherwise, I'm going to fall behind, and I probably won't get the baby done in time. So, gonna have to start getting busy and starting getting some shit done. So that's going to be maybe today's job. Let's get some shit done. And let's go to work. Let's get some work done for you guys. Let's get some videos for you guys. Alright, so we're going to finish off the show this week. Some of your questions that you guys have been sending in. I really appreciate you guys continue to send in the questions every week. You can do it on the Facebook page, BrendenPlayz Official, where most of you guys actually send them in. Alright, with the forums, BrendenPlayz.com/forums is another place to do it. And of course, in the YouTube comment section down below as well. And I really appreciate you guys who continue to send in questions every week. For example, Thomas Speller, Roy the Boy, Alfonso. You guys continue to send in questions every week. I appreciate that. And some of you guys that just continue to watch the show every week, I really appreciate that. I know some people want timestamps. I'm going to just say that's not going to happen because if I put timestamps in, you guys are going to watch a small portion of the show or listen to a small portion of the show. I want you guys to listen to the whole thing. I want you guys to come along and listen to the whole show. So for me, if I kind of if I do put timestamps, I'm kind of limiting what you guys are going to watch. And let's be honest, I spend the first 50 minutes talking about wrestling. Maybe the first 5 to 10 minutes of the show, I don't. Maybe talk about what I've been up to. But for the most part, honestly, dude, I've spent a lot of the show talking about wrestling. So we'll see. All right, this one comes from Blay. Let's kick it off. Do you think that WWE is trying to build up to a Daniel Bryan versus The Miz match in the near future? And do you think they'll just tease something that won't ever happen? I think it's just a tease. I think it's just a kind of a GM and a superstar kind of playing off one another. Bryan's going to try and make The Miz's life, a little bit more difficult because of what he said. So I think it's a good little storyline. Bryan, I think he wants to wrestle, but I just don't think the WWE are going to allow it. And I think they're just going to have as a promos back and forth for now. I don't think it's going to lead to a match, unfortunately. This one's from Carico. Who has been your favourite superstar since 2010? This includes in-ring and promos. He goes on to say, because to me there is not a lot of options to say that have been on top all that time except for Cena, like there was in the late 90s and early 2000s with Stone Cold and The Rock. Probably my favourite superstar in this PG era has been CM Punk. I think he was the one guy that I gravitated towards when I came back to watching wrestling in 2012. Did I talk about the CM Punk fight early on? I didn't, did I? Alright, I'll talk about that now quickly. The CM Punk fight, very disappointing. I think he probably won't fight again in the UFC. I think he'll get cut. I think he might go and work some lower territories. Maybe he wins a fight or two. If he does, maybe the UFC will give him another match. The return of CM Punk, he's come back, he's done better. Let's see how he goes. Probably get beat again, and that'll be it. I know a lot of you guys, you've probably heard everything to do with CM Punk and probably don't care at this point, nearly a week on, but that's just my quick thoughts. But, you are right, there hasn't been a lot of... You can't really name anyone who's been on top, except for Cena since 2010, maybe Randy Orton as well. But there's been a bit of a transition phase. A lot of guys have come and gone. Michaels is gone, Triple H is basically gone, Undertaker basically gone, Jeff Hardy's gone. A lot of guys who were on top at that time kind of, transitioned out. Jericho, he hasn't been on top, but he's certainly been there, in and out. But week in, week out, there hasn't really been any names that have been on top since 2010, so you are absolutely right. So it's been, a good 6 years. I think, right now, I don't really have a personal favourite, to be honest. I think I like a lot of guys, but I don't necessarily watch the product to see one particular person. I watch the product to see everybody as a whole, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I basically like a good handful of people. But you are right, there hasn't been someone who hasn't been on top the whole time, so I probably would say, like I said, the person who got me back into wrestling was someone like CM Punk. He was really great, and unfortunately he's no longer around, but maybe since 2010, probably CM Punk was my, number one favorite. This one's from Prince. What do you see the New Day in the future after losing the tag titles? I think a lot of people maybe think that split could be coming. For me personally, I think they'll probably keep them as a tag team for a little longer. I don't think there really is a need to split them. I don't think, honestly, I think I've been less and less enjoying the New Day over the last probably 4 or 5 months. But I still think they have a lot of value as a tag team, and losing them as a tag team right now would be a pretty big loss, let's be honest. Alright, so let's get into some of our questions. We have one from Alfonso. What do you think of the current women's division right now on NXT? Do you think it's lacking a bit? Do you think superstars like Liv Morgan, Billie Kay, etc. will get to the same level Asuka is right now? Yeah, it's a very good question, a good point that you make. I think the women's division at NXT is certainly lacking, but they're in a bit of a transitional phase. It was always going to happen. They were always going to lose a lot of their top women. They were always going to, go to the main roster, and that's going to happen. That's the thing with NXT. That's what I've been keep harping on about. It's developmental. And when they're ready to go up to the main roster, when they have been developed, you got to put them up. There's no point wasting time. So, Liv Morgan, I haven't seen too much of her. Billie Kay, again, not too much. Peyton Royce, for example, not too much. But I don't know if they're going to be, for example, the next crop of top-tier women to come through. I think there's some potential there, but I'm not sure if they're going to get to that same level as Asuka, as you said. I think someone like Ember Moon may be the one to do it. I think she's going to have a lot of success at NXT, in my opinion. I think she's great in the ring. Still not kind of convinced about her look, the whole red deal, and she's not wearing red or hair's not red or anything like that. To me, that confuses me, and it scratches my head. But other than that, in the ring, she's great. So I think the one person I think you can look forward to perhaps getting to that level, and maybe that big matchup, will be Ember Moon. At this point, I think the other women there just aren't at that level, and probably won't get to that level. From Johnny Dixon, do you think there's some guys that have nothing to do, for example, Jack Swagger, Curtis Axel, should go to NXT to either build themselves up or to give the new NXT guys someone new to beat? Well, absolutely. You look at someone like Tyson Kidd a couple of years ago when he went back to NXT and kind of, reinvented himself. I think that's something that they should be doing. Guys who are doing nothing, bring them down to NXT. Zack Ryder's another one. Bring them down to NXT. They don't have to be winning, but they can just kind of work on something different, do something different, verse some different people, and put them in give them matches. Give Curtis Axel a match on NXT. Give Jack Swagger some matches. The Ascension could go back to NXT, work down there for a little bit. Then they can still stay on the main roster, like Zack Ryder, for example. But you bring them to NXT, and they try something different. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And, maybe they build themselves back up, give them some wins again, give them some confidence, and, go from there. So I don't think it's a bad idea. This one's from Adam Lawton. With Bray Wyatt losing all the time to everybody, now including Kane, how would you change it to make him better? Simple. You're going to have him win. Bray Wyatt's a guy who's got to be winning. He's got to be dominant. He's got to be, a major threat. The thing with Bray Wyatt, he talks himself up, has this big family behind him, these big guys, and he ends up losing. I mean, how lame is that? This guy has got this, 3 gigantic dudes standing next to him, and they still find a way to fucking lose. It's ridiculous. Bray Wyatt, I think, could have been a major star, honestly, but they've just pissed him away. I think at this point, I don't know if he's done, but they've got to do something. I think he's going to have to tweak his character a little bit. This one's from Roy the Boy. What series are you currently watching? My girlfriend and I have been binge watching Survivor. It's a show that I heavily enjoyed probably 6 to 7 years ago. I used to watch it with the family a lot, loved it. Didn't watch it for a while, kind of got back into it. They started an Australian Survivor, so Australia's made their own version. It's actually really, really good. So I started watching that, and it kind of got me back into Survivor as a whole. So I've been binge watching Survivor. That's the only thing I've been watching for the last week or two. I think I've watched maybe 4 seasons of it or something like that. I don't know. It's been crazy. I've been watching a lot of it. So my girlfriend and I have been watching the hell out of that. And yeah, that's probably about it. I haven't really had time to watch anything else, to be honest with you. I think I've kind of been focusing too much on watching that. So yeah, just watching Survivor at the moment. It's really good. Another one from Roy. Would you put the loser of the best of 7 series between Cesaro and Sheamus on SmackDown? I think Cesaro, for example, on SmackDown would do really well. I think he'd be the perfect guy to be on SmackDown to get that exposure. So if Cesaro was to lose that best of 7, I would definitely put him on SmackDown. But if Sheamus loses, keep him Raw. Just keep him there. I don't want him on SmackDown. So Cesaro, I would be happy to see go to SmackDown, but Sheamus not so much. So it's from Oakley Tiger. Do you think Clash of Champions can be as good or better than Backlash? I don't think so. I think the thing that made Backlash good was new champions, new titles being introduced, new winners, people like AJ Styles winning the championship. I think you'll see with Clash of Champions probably a fuck finish with Kevin Owens, probably a fuck finish with Rusev and Reigns, if not Reigns beating Rusev. Sami Zayn and Jericho will be alright. That'll be a good match. The women's match will be a good one. But there won't be that level of excitement that you get from new champions and things like that. So I think it'll be a good show, but I think some of the endings to the match probably will tarnish it a little bit. But I guess that's just the way it has been with Raw. Their booking's been very questionable as of late. This one's from Adam Lawton. Personal question, how do you come up with story ideas for Universe Mode? Do you plan weeks ahead or week by week? Most storylines I plan to the pay-per-view. I have an idea of what I want to do at after. So, for example, Survivor Series, when that's done, I already have all my plans for TLC basically done. There is definitely times where I change plans on the fly. If a certain person wins or something happens, I definitely am flexible and change plans. But for the most part, I have an idea of where I want to go, probably 1 month in advance. And I have ideas of what I want to happen next. At the moment, I don't have any ideas for what I want to do at the Royal Rumble, which is probably not a good thing. To be honest, I haven't really sat down and thought about it. If I sit down for 10 minutes and think about it, I could probably come up with a whole pay-per-view done. Generally, it probably takes me, one night in bed. I'll just, go to sleep and I'll have some thoughts in my mind and I'll come up with a whole pay-per-view. Or if I go on a car ride for 30 minutes, I can come up with the whole show. When I put my mind to it, I can book the show. I can come up with some storylines, and hopefully, for the most part, they turn out pretty good. I think they go okay. So, yeah, I mean, they're not too difficult, and generally try to get at least 1 month in advance. Always be ahead of what I want to do. From Thomas Speller. When the New Day split, which member would you push? Probably Big E. I think Big E is the best out of the 3. From Brock Owens, do you think The Undertaker is going to come back for WrestleMania? Yes, I absolutely do. Final question today is from Killer Memestar. Shout out to Killer Memestar. He's always a good supporter of the show. So he wants to know, do you think that Bray Wyatt's storylines are all the same because all he says is that he is a god and he just ends up losing? Yep, you're pretty much right. He just says the same shit and then he does the same thing. So are we really meant to be buying into Bray Wyatt? I mean, come on. I think Randy Orton's going to probably lose to him. Bray Wyatt needs something. I mean, him losing to Kane, the way that he did prolongs the Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt storyline. I get that. But probably with the way I would have done it, have Bray Wyatt beat Kane, and then after the match, have Randy Orton RKO Bray. So, Bray gets the win, looks good. You know, he beat up Randy early in the night. You know, couldn't you have him beat up Kane, then have Randy Orton get his revenge after the match? Instead of Bray Wyatt celebrating or whatever, as soon as the match is over, Randy Orton stumbles to the ring and hits the RKO. That's probably how I would have done it. And I think if that was the way they did it, nobody would have cared. Nobody would have had a problem with that. But I guess, you know, just the way that they did it was just disappointing. Alrighty guys, that will do it for this week's edition of the LTT Podcast. If you guys enjoyed it, please do leave a like on this video. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on all the discussions of today's episode in the comments below on the YouTube video. Also spread the word about the show by supporting us on Spreaker, Stitcher, and by downloading the show on iTunes. And share the show with your friends. If you've got a friend who likes wrestling, introduce them to the show. Maybe they'll enjoy it, maybe they won't, we'll see. But we hopefully you guys continue to support the show, and I really appreciate that. I hope you guys keep on enjoying it. You know, we've been doing it for 122 episodes now, so hopefully a little bit longer than that if you want to. Actually, no, 122. Yeah, I was going to say if you include the previous episodes, but I actually am including the previous episodes. So 122 episodes, which is over 2 years. So nearly 2.5 years we've been doing the shows. So it's been a crazy journey. So I appreciate every one of you guys who continues to support the show. Alrighty guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you all next video.